Hello and welcome to our review of issues that made the headlines in 2017. In January, critics slammed a bid to ban smacking after Westminster gave the Welsh Assembly the go-ahead to legislate for such a law. The change would criminalise Welsh parents and tourists who visit each year from England and further afield. Later in the month, it emerged that a government consultation on plans to register and inspect Sunday schools received 18,000 responses. The Christian Institute and others had been raising awareness about the proposals. A year on, the responses to the consultation have still not been published. On the 22nd of February, judges at the Court of Appeal in London blocked a bid to introduce heterosexual civil partnerships. Campaigners Rebecca Steinfield and Charles Keedon have been fighting for a change in the law since 2014, but have failed at every hurdle. In March, the government announced new statutory subjects which could expose children as young as 4 to homosexuality and transsexualism. Education Secretary Justine Greening outlined plans for primary level relationships education and secondary level relationships and sex education. Currently, parents have a right to withdraw their children from primary school sex education, but ministers are under pressure to remove this. The National Union of Teachers drew criticism in April for stating that 2-year-old children should be taught about lesbian, gay, bisexual and trans issues. At an annual conference, NUT delegates passed a motion calling for compulsory teaching of LGBT issues throughout all phases of state education, including in nurseries. Towards the end of the month, a Comres poll found that the British public backs the right of MPs to say gay sex is a sin. The poll came after former leader of the Liberal Democrats, Tim Farron, was bullied for his views on homosexuality in the run-up to the general election. In May, the UK Supreme Court agreed to hear arguments on the Asher's Baking Company gay cake case. The MacArthur family, who own and run Asher's, have been dragged through the courts since 2014. General Manager of Asher's, Daniel MacArthur, welcomed the Supreme Court's decision, saying it demonstrated the importance of the case. At the end of the month, the Church of Scotland took steps to allow ministers to perform same-sex marriages. A controversial report by the Kirk acknowledged that the Bible condemns same-sex acts, but claimed Scripture was framed by cultural context. The general election took place on Thursday, the 8th of June, delivering a minority Conservative government. After the election, controversial extremism plans were confirmed in the Queen's speech. The speech outlined plans for a counter-extremism commission. Plans for Sunday school inspections and a proposed equality oath were not mentioned. Towards the end of June, new named person legislation was released, watering down the controversial State Guardian plans. And guidance by the General Pharmaceutical Council recognised the positive role of religion after previously threatening to override Christian conscience rights. In July, a Premier Radio survey revealed that 9 in 10 Christians believe their faith is being marginalised in society. Nearly half of respondents to the poll said that they had personally experienced prejudice because of their faith. The 17th of July marked the public launch of Be Reasonable, the campaign opposing a smacking ban in Wales. Be Reasonable, which is backed by the Christian Institute and the Family Education Trust, warned that banning smacking would criminalise thousands of ordinary parents. August saw the High Court in Belfast dismiss 2 cases which sought to have same-sex marriage introduced in Northern Ireland. Judge John O'Hara stressed that the law on marriage falls under the remit of the Northern Ireland Assembly and said that as a member of the judiciary, he must respect the separation of powers. In England, another High Court judge hit the headlines for branding school regulator Ofsted's complaints process as unfair. Judge Martin McKenna ruled in favour of a London school, which argued the process left it unable to effectively challenge an Ofsted report. At the end of the month, God's good purposes for human sexuality, as revealed in the Bible, were affirmed by prominent Christian leaders. Over 150 people, including John Piper, Michael Reeves, Vaughan Roberts and others, signed a document known as the Nashville Statement. During September, the Scottish Government's contentious named person legislation came under sustained fire. MSPs heard that new rules on data sharing under the scheme were so complicated, teachers would need legal degrees to understand them. And research on trans people who have re-embraced their birth sex was blocked by a university over fears it was politically incorrect. In October, the Office for National Statistics signalled that the question "What is your sex?" could be scrapped from the next census for fear of offending transgender and non-binary people. A Christian printer declined to print business cards for a company promoting LGBT rights, citing concerns that its aims could impact negatively on Christians. And the Scottish National Party performed a U-turn on the issue of smacking. Having previously avoided backing a measure to criminalise parents who smack their children, it said it would ensure the proposal became law. The 27th of October marked the 50th anniversary of the Abortion Act in Great Britain, and October the 31st marked the 500th anniversary of the start of the Protestant Reformation. At the start of November, the government was accused of squandering an opportunity to curb dangerous, fixed-odds betting terminals. A long-awaited report agreed that the maximum stake on FOB-Ts, where gamblers can lose £100 every 20 seconds, should be lowered. Instead of taking action, ministers decided on yet more consultation. In December, Holyrood's Education Committee voted to block progress of Scotland's beleaguered named person scheme. First Minister Nicola Sturgeon vowed to press on with the plans, but they are now highly unlikely to come into force before 2019. And on the 8th of December, Be Reasonable Scotland was launched at a special event in Edinburgh. The campaign is opposing plans endorsed by the Scottish Government to criminalise parents who smack their children. Thank you for standing with us in 2017. Your prayers and support have made a vital difference. We give thanks to God and trust Him to provide for our every need in the year ahead.